I'm joking. I'm telling Erie this video is 17 step on how to become awesome like Erie, and she's like, no, I'm blushing. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna make a video where we are going to give you 17 ways or something. I think 17 or 16 on how to become awesome like Erie. So I have a script for this, which I can kind of read off. But I might also show you some things in town so you kind of see what I mean by that. Now, Erie is a cool player and a cool builder, and this will help you, you know, sort of recognize why she's cool and why her builds are pretty nice, and why people enjoy playing with her. So yeah, so lesson number 1, and this is just a lesson on building, basically, something you can do as well. There is no reason to only have one of each animal in town. And I don't mean one sheep, I mean like one sheep pen or one pig area, right? Like this is the main area where you basically go if you need to find an animal. You come here, you can do your butchering or whatever, but there's also other zones that have cows, like the cheese hut has cows as well, which makes a lot of sense, right? But you can also find pigs over here at Taco Bell. And there's a few more places where you can find cows in Erie's town, or over here, the chickens outside of the pancake house. They bring a town to life. They give the town some lore, some story. So don't be afraid to add more zones for an animal that already exists in your town. You can have several more than you think you need, right? Lesson number 2, same thing is true for farms, which means you don't just need to have one big massive farm with everything on it, which doesn't mean you don't need a farm. I'd say make a big farm so that if a child is learning how to farm, you can take them to that one spot. But you saw it as well. There are little areas as well where Erie has other farms set up, like for example, the hops area over here, the vineyard over here. And once again, if we go to Taco Bell, you will see that we have beans and corn right over here. So that's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, if you intend to play with babies and you intend to make a massive town like Erie, you will need a shit ton of horses. I have been born into big towns before that only had 2 or 3 horses available for the Eves that were living and working in that town, and none for their children. And you can say, okay, then you as a child should make them. Yes, but also sometimes people might not have apples yet or anything else, and then it gets really annoying having to get your own horse. And I know that I have died in a few towns where I was like, I can't do my job because no horses are available, and I'm not in the mood for making a horse today. So yeah, if you want to have a big town, get your horses in order so your babies can get around fast. Lesson 4, people love role-playing and people love lore, which means that making graves for people who died after they lived memorable lives is a great way to remember that lore of the town. For example, I'm always happy seeing this little grave here. Jessie Erie, beloved mother, planted forests, loved pineapple pizza. I always remember the time I played here just by reading that grave and how I made this forest and how we ate pizza, and I was like talking about pineapple pizza and things like that. But all the graves in this town, and you will find a lot of them here, carry the stories and the lore of the town. And by respecting the lore of the town, you are respecting the players that came here, and that just makes people feel warm and fuzzy and really like you a lot as an Eve, and that's something that Erie does really well. Number 5, not even related to what you see over here on the screen, but make a Discord thread to keep track of all your builds and involve other players in what you are up to. Erie has a thread where she basically shows off all the builds that she has been doing, and if needed, she can always use that thread to communicate with people who like playing with her. Lesson number 6, if you are eager to get help in your town, then you gotta help other people in their towns too. Erie has always helped out other people. She's really well liked because she's helped out in all these other towns as well. She doesn't only play in her town, she plays in everyone's town. She doesn't discriminate between people, and she will usually say her name when she gets born so people know, oh, it's Erie. Erie is helping me. Erie is making this for me. Erie is making me bricks. Erie has made me a honey farm. Or whatever, and people just know, oh, it's Erie that's playing with me right now. And that just makes you a well-liked person, and that's one of the reasons I think Erie is awesome. So yeah, and I do realize this entire video is like a love letter to Erie, but shh. Lesson number 7. If you have valuables, make sure that you have a good vault that will protect your valuables. So how do you make a good vault? Make sure that you have ancient stone walls. So stone, sandstone, bricks, those are what I call stone walls. Bamboo will also work. And then you also need a password locked wooden door. To make this door, you will need a diamond, and that is something not everyone has. But this is the best way for Erie to keep all her stuff safe. Then she doesn't need to, call on the devs. And a griefer who comes into this town will also be like, I can't get in here. I can't steal anything of value. What is the fun in that? It kind of repels griefers from having too much fun in your town, because you know that you will be having way more fun making a ticket because they weren't able to do any real damage, right? Next, I want to talk about Erie's building style. And this is something that new players don't know how to emulate yet. So I'm going to give you the formula for it. Erie's building style is basically 2 different floors. One for the border, one for the inside. Like over here, you see this green and these brick floors, right? And then for the walls, it's also the same. Your corners are usually going to be different than the other wall. So in this case, it's dark wooden wall combined with hedges. Then over here, you see it's white wood and gravel on the floor. And you see that the walls are bricks for the horizontal wall, sandstone vertically, and hedges for the corners. And this is just a very smart way to keep the builds looking fresh and different from each other, just by alternating between what are the corners, what are the walls. And not every house will look the same this way. Now, Erie does have a preference for dark wood, and she also loves sandstone and bricks. But she doesn't shy away from using other things to keep it varied. I have no idea how to say that word. Anyway, yes, you know what I mean. Also, very important, guys, do floors under your arches, under your windows, under everything. Think about your floors before you start building. A lot of people forget to put down floors or think of it later. You will not find a place in Erie's town that doesn't have a floor where it needs to be. Like, everything is perfectly floored, and it makes such a difference between a town that looks finished and professional and the town that kind of looks like it was made by an amateur. I know there's a lot of people that at the start of their town, someone, starts putting down an oven or a fireplace and doesn't put down the floor first. It happens. We've all been there. But what Erie does, Erie goes back, and if someone has forgotten something, she will fix it later. She will, put the windows, take the windows off the walls, break down the walls, put the floor down, put the walls back again, etc., etc. And it just makes it all look really, really nice. Also, don't be afraid to stand out. This town is one of the rare towns that has a lot of brick floors. You won't see this in many other towns, but it is one way that Erie keeps her town looking completely different from many of the others. And yeah, this is something I recommend. Find a way to just stand out and be different. And sometimes you can use the environment, sometimes you can use the building materials that you prefer or that you like most to be different from all the rest. You might also be wondering, how does this town look so clean? Why is there nothing on these floors? Well, we are now at lesson number 11, and that is basically, if you can add storage like shelves and tables, do it. That's how you keep the town clean looking. Look at these shelves. There's nothing on them. But, sometimes there's something like this or like this, and you can just put it on these shelves, and suddenly everything looks a lot cleaner than it would be in many other towns. So Erie's town is massive. It has so many items, and it looks incredibly clean due to the fact there's a lot of storage. She also makes her building slightly bigger than what she has. Like, she has a lot of crappy clothes, but there's still room for more. And the same with her regular clothes. Like, she has a massive clothes storage. Like, more than she has more storage than she has clothes. And this is fine. This is what helps keep your clothes area look clean. Some people just have 4 boxes and are like, this is my clothes room. But then they have 10 boxes worth of clothes and everything ends up littered all over the place. So yeah, add storage, add shelves, add tables, add rooms where you store things. That is how you keep your town looking really clean and cozy. So scientifically speaking, they say that green is a relaxing color. So lesson number 12 is about this color. Add green wherever you can. Erie has a lot of vines and sometimes also hedges in places that might not make a lot of sense to have these hedges, like as the corners of rooms, for example. And by having this, it kind of gives it a chiller vibe than if you don't have these green corners to a lot of these places. It makes it look more alive, more vibrant, gives it a little bit more color too. I personally love using some clover. I know not everyone's a fan of clover, but I'm really glad that this entire place got surrounded by clover because it makes this area look less drab. And then she also uses these autumn leaves for even more color on her farm. If it is your dream to make beautiful forests, and this is, by the way, lesson number 13. If it is your dream to make a beautiful forest like these, then there's only one thing that I can suggest. You need a massive, pain-in-the-butt large honey farm. Without a honey farm this size, you can't make big forests like that. Like, if you think that forest you saw is like one time of cutting honey out of this, you are mistaken. I might have had to clear out this entire area 3 times before I had enough cuttings to make a forest that size. So yeah, if you think that greenery is very important in your town, you need a really big honey farm. However, don't be afraid to start with a small honey farm like this size, for example, and just keep room to the east or the west where you can expand that honey farm if you eventually have more time to make it bigger, right? Lesson number 14 is about all these rare items in the vault. You might be thinking, Jessie, how do I get these items? I want some of this stuff. There's such rare stuff in here. How can I have a vault like Erie's? Well, there's a few things that Erie does that many people don't do as much as she does, and which explains why she has as much stuff. 1, you have to be active. You have to continue playing, or at least keep an eye on the events that are announced on Discord, because it's at those events that you can win stuff. Erie has won a chess competition, or 2nd place in a chess competition. She also came in really high at the fishing competition, and also for other events like Halloween events or whatnot. Erie shows up consistently, and she doesn't win something every single time, but just by showing up, you are so much more likely to win stuff. Furthermore, Erie is also really kind and nice, which also helps if you do something good. Maybe a dev might give you something nice. Now, I don't know if that was ever the case for Erie, if she ever got something for free that didn't come from an event. I'm gonna see if I can find Erie to ask her this question. Erie question: did you ever get a rare hat or anything uncraftable by being nice? I wonder, or was everything one? Well, okay, I'm kind of curious. Johnny gave me a horse with a hat. Whoa, that's a great gift. So yeah, see, Erie's just nice. And Johnny loves Erie so much that Johnny gave her the horse with the hat. I was wondering how she got that one. That's so cool. It is. So fancy. And all the rest was one. Johnny's neighbor, nice. I'm just wondering, like, the ostrich and the woolly hat. I can remember her winning the woolly hat. So, but yeah, but sometimes if you're nice, sometimes people might stop playing or they play less and they might be like, hey, Erie, I remember you helping me out in my town. Here's something to thank you for that, or can you look after my horse or whatever. that aren't craftable anymore. Yeah, they're cool. They're cool. I pointed them out in the previous video. Okay, on with the video. Mammoth boots. I saw those. I saw those in the previous video as well. Alright, so. Another thing that I think makes Eerie such a joy to play with, and I'm just gonna stalk Eerie while she doesn't know what I'm talking about, but that's fine, I'm just stalking Eerie. What Eerie also realizes is that a lot of babies will /die when they see a town is really developed. And this is a point that many Eves notice. At a certain point, your town is really developed, babies start /dying more because many babies, when they are new to the game, they want a new town. They don't want to be in a town like this because they get overwhelmed, they don't know what to do. What some Eves do is they start complaining about it on the Discord, and they might get rude. They might be like, these stupid babies, they keep dying in my town. And I, for one, I understand that frustration as much as anyone. I can understand it. However, voicing that sentiment of like stupid babies and how you voice it can put people off from playing with you. I know that Eerie realizes as well that babies are like not always in the mood for playing in her town. But Eerie is never like stupid baby or anything. She's like, they probably wanted to play somewhere else. She's very understanding. She doesn't lash out about her frustrations or anything. And I think that's just a very nice temperament to have. I understand not everyone is like that, but I think it's one of the reasons why people like Eerie as much as well. She's just always kind, and yeah, that's like the perfect player, right? And then lesson number 16, I already mentioned it in my previous video, but keep your kitchen and your pantry separate so that your chefs can cook in peace and your pantry is just, you know, always filled to the brim. But then the people who are hungry will not disturb your chefs, they will be more chill, and that's just better in general. So yeah, I just gave you 16 lessons to learn from Eerie. Doesn't mean that Eerie never makes any mistakes whatsoever. No, there are definitely things that I would still recommend to Eerie, but I also think that Eerie is critical enough to see these things herself. Like, I think Eerie realizes that this particular area of town is a little cramped. Like, only having one tile for your roads is really, really cramped. Sometimes it's nice to have a little breather like this between your road and the building, so you can add flowers and trees and gardens, or you can just plop down your horse without leaving your horse on the middle of the road, right? So I think that Eerie realizes that that sort of stuff could have been built better. I think she also realizes that her bone meal services, which is over here, is better off if you put it right where you spawn, which is in Eerie's case around here somewhere. So Eerie spawns around here. So having your bone meal services here would be way better, just because you don't, you know, if you want to be born in as an Eve, you can just /die at your bone meal services without having to walk so far every single time. Another lesson that Eerie learned is that her hospital is probably not in the best spot. It's in the middle of town, and if people get hit by dangerous animals, they're usually on the outskirts of town, which means they can't make it to this place before they die. So I don't think this hospital has ever saved a life, in my opinion. I think no one was ever rescued here. I think everyone just died before they could reach it. Personally, and this is one of my peeves, this particular building has ticked me off in a few ways because I could not leave through this corner or that corner. It's still enough. This is not the worst building, by the way. There's a few areas that are so dense that you struggle to get out of the room sometimes. But it has improved slightly. But over here, for example, like if I want to go from here to here, I have to go all the way around like this. Yeah, sometimes it's just annoying that there's no room between certain buildings and you get sort of locked in, but she knows this. Also, another lesson that I think that Eerie could take with her for the next map, and I think Eerie knows this as well, the toy store ID is fantastic and it's great taking your children there, but this toy store is too far away from the rest of town, which means that if I get a baby while I'm in the farm, I need to dress the child in the clothes room. By the time I enter with the child in the toy store, walking the child over here, the child is like 5 years old. It's not fast enough, and then it's no longer as cute when they pick up the toys. So yeah, toy stores probably should be more in the center of town, maybe alongside the kitchen or the clothes room or something like that. If this is an idea that we want to repeat on the next map. So yeah, guys, that was it for this video. I hope you learned a lot from it. Which of these tips is new to you? Are you like, no, all these tips I already knew all of this. This is not new to me. You just wasted 20 minutes of my life, Jessie. Thanks a lot for that. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Here's Erie again. She just continues working her ass off. Does she know there's a map wipe? Do you know there's a map wipe coming? Just checking. What? Oh, dear Lord. I think she didn't know yet. Well, now she knows. Yeah. Just saying. Because you're working so hard. You gotta do it all over again. Make a new town. Are you looking forward to it? Yeah. Yes, okay, that's good. Can I come again? I need a place to tend flowers. In your next town. Dear Lord, Erie. Of course, yay. Nice. So yeah, guys, that was it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. And yeah, remember what I say. Eat yum, eat meh, be awesome, be nice like Erie. And yeah, she says it will be prettier than this town. Impossible! But I believe her. Anyway, see you around, guys. Bye-bye!